In 20 years, I've guided 3,000 people down this road. I've lost 3 friends. And every morning, I wake up at 5 a.m. to do it again. There are roads on Earth that kill hundreds every year. Roads so dangerous, governments tried to ban them. Roads where one mistake means death. And yet, millions choose to walk them anyway. Not because they have to, but because they want to. Why risk death for a journey they don't need? The answer has nothing to do with thrill-seeking, and everything to do with what we've lost in our race to stay safe. For most of history, dangerous journeys weren't optional. You crossed mountains because your village needed salt. You risked the journey because survival demanded it. Today, we've engineered danger out of travel. Highways with guardrails, GPS, airbags. We can go anywhere safely, comfortably, without risk. And yet, millions still choose the dangerous path. The narrow cliff road when a tunnel exists, the suspended walkway when a bridge is nearby. Why? Because safety isn't always what we need. Sometimes, what we need is to be tested. To prove we can still do hard things. This isn't about adrenaline. It's about something deeper. It's about what happens when you choose the hard way, knowing you don't have to. And what that choice reveals about who you are. 3 roads, 3 impossible journeys, 3 tests that millions take by choice. In Bolivia, the Death Road. 64 kilometers. 3,500 meter descent. 200 to 300 deaths per year at its peak. Bolivia built an alternate route, and then tourists started coming. 25,000 per year now, paying $150 each to bike down a road that used to kill 300 people annually. Why? Marco, a guide who's done this 3,000 times, knows. In China, Tianmen Mountain Road. 99 hairpin turns, 1,300 meters of vertical climb in 11 kilometers. So tight that buses must reverse 3 times per turn. Li Wei has driven it 5,000 times, 0 accidents. He says, "What I fear is not death. What I fear is distraction." Because on this road, perfection isn't optional. In Spain, El Caminito del Rey. A 1 meter wide walkway bolted to a cliff face, 100 meters above a gorge. Between 1,999 and 2,000, 5 deaths. Spain closed it, banned access. And thousands ignored the ban, climbed fences, risked arrest, risked death. Why? Isabel, a park ranger who's walked it 1,000 times, understands it's about commitment. 3 roads, 3 tests, and 3 lessons about how we live. Let's start at the edge of the cliff, where fog hides the drop, and the only way forward is down. North Yungas Road, La Paz to Coroico, Bolivia. 64 kilometers carved into a mountain. At its highest, 4,650 meters above sea level. At its lowest, 1,200 meters. No guardrails, barely 3 meters wide, sheer drops of 600 meters. Between the 1,990 seconds and 2006, 200 to 300 deaths per year. The Inter-American Development Bank named it the world's most dangerous road. In 2006, Bolivia opened a safe paved highway. Problem solved. The Death Road should have been abandoned. Instead, 25,000 tourists per year now bike down it. Choosing the dangerous path when a safe one exists right next to it. This is where Marco works. People ask me, after 20 years, after losing 3 friends, why do you still do this? And I tell them, because this road teaches something you can't learn from staying safe. Marco has guided since 2005, started the year before the new highway opened. He's seen the road transform from necessity to choice. I guide accountants from Germany, teachers from Japan, retirees from Australia, people who've never touched a mountain bike. They're terrified. I see it in their eyes. But they came anyway. They didn't come for Instagram. They came because something inside them said, I need to know if I can still do this. The descent takes 3 to 4 hours. First section is paved, manageable. Then you reach the dirt and the fog. And suddenly, you can't see the edge anymore, just white. And you have to trust that the path continues. The fog is the worst because you can't see the drop. Your mind fills in the blank with fear. Some people freeze, cannot move. And I tell them, the fear is not the problem. Stopping is the problem. If you stop, you think. If you think, you imagine. If you imagine, you panic. So we keep moving. Every few kilometers, crosses, memorials where vehicles went over, where families were lost. Marco stops at one, always does. My friend Carlos, 2011. He was guiding, group of 12. A truck came too fast. Carlos moved to the edge to give space. The edge gave way. He fell 400 meters. I think about him every time I pass here. And people ask, how do you keep doing this after that? And I say, because Carlos taught me something. Life doesn't come with guarantees. You can stay safe or you can live fully. Carlos chose to live fully, and so do I. Marco keeps a guest book, 3,000 entries, and a pattern emerged. Sarah, 52, Canada. I survived breast cancer. I needed to prove I could still take risks. Hiroshi, 67, retired after 40 years, realized I'd spent my whole life choosing safety, not anymore. Emma, 29, my therapist told me I avoid discomfort, so I booked this trip, scariest thing I've ever done, also the proudest. They're not thrill seekers. They're people who've lived too long in the safe zone. And something inside them said, I need to feel alive again. I need to know I can still do hard things. And this road gives them that. Not because it's dangerous, but because it's honest. You can't fake this. You either commit or you don't. Want to bike the Death Road? Location: La Paz to Coroico, Bolivia. 47 kilometers. Cost $100, $200 USD. Includes bike, gear, guide, transport. Difficulty: moderate to challenging. No prior experience required. Safety: reputable operators have excellent records. Deaths among tourists are rare, 1 to 2 per year, usually from ignoring rules. Best time: May to October, November to April, is wet and more dangerous. Pro tip: book with established operators, Gravity Bolivia, Barracuda Biking. Full booking guide linked in description. At the bottom, riders arrive in Coroico, and something happens. People who started terrified finish transformed. At the top, they're scared. At the bottom, they're different. Not because they conquered the road, but because they faced the fear and kept going anyway. Modern life is designed to avoid fear. We build systems to protect us, and we forget how to face hard things. We forget that we can face hard things, and then we wonder why nothing feels meaningful. This road killed my friend. It could kill me tomorrow. But I wake up at 5 a.m. and do it again. Not despite the danger, because of what the danger teaches. That life is fragile, that safety is an illusion, that the only real choice is between living fully or not living at all. Death Road teaches you to face danger, but there's a different kind of test. Not about courage, about control. A road so demanding that one moment of distraction means failure. Where 99 turns must be executed perfectly. That road is in China, and the man who's driven it 5,000 times has never made a mistake. Tianmen Mountain, Hunan Province, China. 11 kilometers long, 1,300 meters of vertical climb, 99 hairpin turns. Exactly 99. In Chinese culture, 9 is the number of heaven. 99 is the path to transcendence. Each turn is so tight that buses must reverse 3 times per turn. 3 degrees of tolerance. Any less, the bus doesn't fit. Any more, it goes over the edge. No margin for error, no room for distraction. This is where Li Wei drives. People think driving this road is about courage. It's not. Courage is for situations you can't control. Here, I control everything. My hands, my eyes, my mind. The danger is not the road. The danger is me if I lose focus. Li Wei has driven this road for 18 years, 5,000 trips, 0 accidents. He's one of only 30 drivers certified. Training takes 2 years, most quit before finishing. Because the road tests your ability to be perfect every single day. Every morning, I inspect the bus for 4 or 5 minutes. Tires, brakes, steering, mirrors. People say, "You do this every day. Why so careful?" Because every day is the first day. Routine makes you careless, and carelessness kills. So I treat each trip like my first and my last. Riding with Li Wei is an education in precision. Every turn, the same 3-point sequence. Every brake, firm, controlled, never panicked. His hands don't shake. His breathing doesn't change. His eyes never wander. Passengers watch me. If I look worried, they panic. So I never look worried. Not because I'm not worried, but because worry is useless. Worry is thinking about what might happen. Focus is responding to what is happening. I don't have time to worry. I only have time to drive. Turn 54 is the most difficult. In 2006, the first bus got stuck here for 3 hours. The driver had to unload cargo, reverse down a sheer cliff, adjust by millimeters. For 3 hours. He made it, but never drove the road again. Quit the next day. Turn 54 teaches humility. You can know the road. Practice for years. But every time you reach turn 54, you remember, one mistake here is final. Perfect or you fail. And when you finish turn 54, you don't celebrate. You focus on turn 55. Because the road doesn't care about your past successes. It only cares about this turn, right now. Tianmen Mountain isn't just a road, it's a pilgrimage site. At the top, Tianmen Cave Heaven's Gate. For 1,000 years, pilgrims climbed 999 steps to prove their devotion, to test their discipline. The road was built in 2005 to make the journey accessible, but it kept the philosophy. 99 turns equals 99 tests, each one a chance to fail, each one a chance to prove you can demand perfection from yourself. The road is a teacher. It shows you who you are when distraction is not an option, when perfection is the only path forward. Most people never face this test. They live where good enough is accepted, where mistakes can be fixed. But mastery requires something else. The willingness to fail if you are not perfect, and the discipline to pursue perfection anyway. Want to experience Tianmen Mountain? Location: Zhangjiajie, Hunan Province, China. 4 hours by train from Changsha. $40 USD for combined ticket bus or cable car plus glass walkway plus return. Buzz experience. Once kilometro, 30 hasta 40 minutes, 99 turns, incredible views. Safety, excellent. Drivers are highly trained. Accidents are extremely rare. Best time April-May or September-October. Summer is crowded and humid. Pro tip, sit on the left side going up. Best views. Go early first bus 8 a.m. less crowded. Full guide and booking links in description. At the end of his shift, Li Wei does another 30-minute inspection, even though maintenance will do the same. People ask, why inspect again? You're done for the day. But I'm not done. Not until I know the bus is ready for tomorrow. Discipline isn't what you do when people are watching. It's what you do when no one would know if you skipped it. Li Wei lives simply. Small apartment, no car, minimal possessions. He practices calligraphy, meditates, reads philosophy. People think I'm obsessed with the road, but it's not about the road. It's about what the road teaches, that perfection is possible if you refuse distraction. That mastery is available if you practice every day. That focus is a skill and most people never develop it. Modern life is designed for distraction, notifications, entertainment, interruptions. We celebrate hustle. We reward busy. But we've lost the ability to do one thing perfectly, to give something complete attention, because it does matter. 18 years, 0 trips, 0 accidents. People say, you must be so confident. No, I am terrified every single day. Because the moment I stop being afraid, that's when I fail. Fear keeps me sharp. So I don't fear failure, I fear distraction. Because distraction is the only thing I can control. And if I control that, everything else follows. Death Road tests your courage. Tianmen tests your control. But there's one more test, the hardest one, where the only thing that matters is, will you commit when you can't turn back? A concrete walkway, 1 meter wide, 100 meters above a gorge. Banned for 15 years. And yet thousands ignored the ban. Why? Malaga, Spain. Desfiladero de los Gaitanes, the gorge of the Gaitanes, 100 meters deep. And bolted to its walls, El Caminito del Rey, the King's Little Pathway. Built in 1901 to connect 2 hydroelectric plants. A concrete walkway, suspended, no ground beneath, just air. For decades, it worked until it didn't. By the 1,990 seconds, the concrete was crumbling, holes, gaps, sections missing entirely. Between 1,999 and 2,005 deaths. In 2001, Spain closed it, banned access, too dangerous to exist. And that's when people really started coming. I first walked the old path in 2003. 2 years after they closed it, I was 17 and stupid. Isabel grew up in Alora, the village at the base. Her grandfather helped build the original path in 1921. He told her stories of workers suspended by rope, of men who fell. He made it sound terrifying, Isabel says, and that's exactly why I wanted to see it. After the closure, the path became legend. Urban explorers, climbers, thrill seekers. Some made it across, some turned back, some fell. But everyone said the same thing: the first step is the hardest. Not because of danger, because once you take it, you can't go back. I stood at the entrance for 20 minutes, just standing, looking. The concrete was grey, cracked. You could see through holes to the river below. I kept thinking, if I step forward, I'm committed. There's no turning around on a 1 meter path with a 100 meter drop. You finish, or you freeze, and freezing is worse than falling. So I stepped. The first 10 meters, pure terror. Every step, you test the concrete. Will it hold? You hear creaking, feel vibrations. Your brain screams, go back. But you can't. So you keep moving. And somewhere around meter 50, something changes. You stop being afraid of falling. You start being afraid of stopping. Because stopping means thinking, and thinking means realizing where you are. So you don't stop, you walk, 1 foot, then the other, for 3 kilometers, until you reach the other side. And when you do, you feel like you've proven something, not to anyone else, to yourself. That you can commit to something impossible and finish it. Between 2001 and 2015, thousands ignored the ban, climbed fences, risked arrest, risked death. Why? After I became a ranger in 2016, after they reopened the renovated path, I found old police logs. Records of people caught trying to cross illegally. A 4-year-old accountant from Munich, a 2-year-old teacher from Osaka, a woman 48 from Perth who'd survived breast cancer and wrote, "I needed to know I could still do hard things." That's when I understood. This path isn't about danger, it's about commitment. Modern life gives us 1,000 exits. You don't like your job? Quit. Relationship hard? Leave. We optimize for optionality, for keeping doors open, for never being trapped. But this path, once you start, there are no exits. You finish or you fail. And that feeling, being truly committed, most people never experience it anymore. The good news, El Caminito reopened in 2015, completely rebuilt, safe, legal. Location, near Malaga, Andalusia, Spain, an hour north of Malaga City. Length, 7.7 kilometers total. The suspended walkway section is 3 kilometers. Duration, 3 to 4 hours. One way only. No turning back once you start. Tickets, must book in advance. €10 per person. Sells out weeks ahead in peak season. April-October. Safety, hard hat required, provided. No children under 8, moderate fitness needed. Best time, spring, March, May, or fall, September, November. Summer is extremely hot, 35-40 degrees Celsius. Pro tip, walk slowly. This isn't a race. Feel the commitment. That's the point. Full booking guide and safety tips linked in description. Does the renovated path safe, regulated, have the same power as the old path? Watch. Every day, I see it. People stand at the entrance. They know it's safe. They know thousands walk it every month. But they still hesitate because safety isn't the point, commitment is. That sign at the entrance, no return, one way only. That's what makes people pause. Not the height, not the danger. The knowledge that once you start, you must finish. No shortcuts, no exits, no quitting halfway. I've walked this path over 1,000 times now, and I still feel it every single time. That first step, that moment where you choose, commit, or walk away. Most people spend their whole lives walking away from hard conversations, from difficult projects, from dreams that demand years. Because modern life teaches, if it's hard, there's probably an easier way. But some things don't have easier ways. Some things require walking the whole path. Even when it's scary, even when you might fail. My grandfather told me, the path doesn't care if you're brave. It only cares if you're committed. Brave people turn back all the time. They look at the risk and say, not worth it. Committed people, they take the first step, and then the second, and then they keep walking. Not because they're fearless, but because they've decided this is worth finishing, no matter what. El Caminito teaches the final lesson. The impossible journeys aren't the ones that might kill you. They're the ones that require you to decide, truly decide, and then refuse every exit. Death Road tests your courage. Tianmen tests your precision. El Caminito tests commitment. Your willingness to commit when there's no guarantee, to start something knowing you can't turn back. And that more than any physical challenge is what separates the people who finish from the people who don't. 3 roads, 3 tests, 3 questions. Will you face what scares you? Will you demand perfection from yourself? Will you commit when you can't turn back? Death Road taught us about danger, but not the danger itself, the choice to face it. Marco wakes up at 5 a.m. every day, not because he's fearless, but because he's decided some experiences are worth the fear. In a world where we avoid discomfort, Death Road asks, what would you do if you weren't afraid? Tianmen taught us about control. Li Wei doesn't control the road, he controls himself. His attention, his precision, his refusal to be distracted. Fear is for things you can't control. What I fear is distraction. In a world of notifications and interruptions, Tianmen asks, what happens when you demand absolute focus from yourself? El Caminito taught us about commitment, the deepest lesson. Isabel has walked that path 1,000 times, watched thousands hesitate, not because it's dangerous anymore, but because of the sign, no return, one way only. Because once you start, you must finish. And that feeling being truly committed, most people never experience anymore. These roads exist in Bolivia, in China, in Spain. But the real journey, it's in the questions they force you to ask. Most people avoid all three. They live safe lives, comfortable lives, lives with exits everywhere. And they wonder why nothing feels earned, why achievements feel hollow, why they never feel fully alive. You don't need to bike Death Road to feel alive. You don't need to drive Tianmen to master focus. You don't need to walk El Caminito to learn commitment. But you do need to find your own version of those tests, because modern life doesn't give them to you. Modern life is designed to be easy. Food delivered, entertainment streamed, comfort maximized. And that's not bad, but it's not enough. Because we're not built for easy, we're built for challenge. For difficulty that has meaning, for obstacles that force us to become more. Marco chooses danger because it makes him present. Li Wei chooses precision because it makes him disciplined. Isabel chooses commitment because it makes her whole. What do you choose? So here's the question. What's your impossible journey? What's the thing you're avoiding because it scares you? The conversation you need to have? The project you keep postponing? The skill you've always wanted but never committed to? What's the thing where you've been keeping your options open, where you've been waiting for the perfect moment, where you haven't fully committed because commitment means you might fail? That's your Death Road. That's your Tianmen. That's your Caminito. And here's what I learned. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need to have it figured out. You just need to take the first step, and then the second, and then refuse every exit until you reach the other side. That's it. That's the whole secret. The path doesn't care if you're brave. It only cares if you're committed. If this video made you think about your own impossible journey, let me know in the comments. What's your road? What's the thing you're avoiding? What would you walk toward if you couldn't turn back? I read every single comment. And if you want more stories about places that teach us how to live, hit subscribe, because we're just getting started. 3 roads. Built for practical reasons, but what they actually do. They ask the question most people spend their whole lives avoiding. What are you willing to commit to, even when it's hard, even when you're scared, even when you might fail? That answer, whatever it is for you, that's your impossible journey. The question is, will you take the first step?